Oh, another match point.
Incredible third set here.
They changed their strategy a little bit and they fought their way back in.
There it is. Game, set, and match.
Welcome to the final of the Aronimink Open between, on my left, Guillermo Nunez and Mark Powers, and on my right, Jose Salazar and Regalado.
Hello and welcome to the 2024-25 APTA Tour. We're live from the Aronimink Golf Club in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, bringing you the Aronimink Open with live streaming brought to you by the APTA membership and our tour presenting sponsors Volley and Corient. Tournament support has been provided by the following local sponsors. At the bronze level, Flying Fish Brewing Company, Guilford Hall Brewery, get a Guilford, Win Barnes Berkshire Hathaway, for all your mainline and Philadelphia real estate needs, Redefine, Xenon Paddle, buy a paddle player for paddle players. Silver level, McDonald's, the Dune Family Enterprises. I'm going to do my best with this. There you go, Jake. Good job. Please visit your local Dune Family McDonald's. Gold level, Calm Advisories. Whether you're buying or selling a business, Calm Advisory offers strategic insights and hands-on support every step of the way. I'm Guy Moore, along with Patty Hogan, here at the Aronimink Open for the men's finals between Regalado, Jose Salazar, playing against Guillermo Nunez and Mark Powers. This is a rematch of the Nationals from a year ago. It's going to be an amazing match. We have on the players on the top left of our screen, Guillermo Nunez in the gray top, the lefty, his partner to the right, Mark Powers, wearing a light blue top and pink shorts, it looks like. And then we have Regalado hitting that was just Jose Salazar hitting the overhead. They're both dressed the same there. Regalado hitting the overhead. See how they start this match. If they're
15 love.
You have Jose Salazar serving there. And Regalado, Salazar tend to, I don't want to say start. They start where they're warmed up. They play very long points. You'll see them. Their net scheme is a little different. They do play side by side. They close the net very quickly when they need to.
30 love.
Salazar serves very.
30, 15.
Rallies, I was about to say it. The commentator jinx. Very solid, very steady. He does not fault a lot. See Regalado stepping up, cutting off balls. Regalado, Salazar, they go through some phases when they're at the net that they will switch out, but it's kind of more of an organic switch. When I say that, I mean, you know, the point dictates the switch, and then they stay there. They have a nice variety of overheads. And that's what Nunez does so well. He moves forward so quickly. And Mark Powers is so quick with that forehand. Zero backswing, recognizes his opponent's hands up high and gets his paddle up high and is on top of that ball very quickly. Going back to Nunez too on that last time he moved forward. Because he's lefty, he has such a big wingspan in the middle too. He has a lot of reach. And one of the most effective things Nunez did at the Nationals last year in this matchup is he was using that lefty overhead, playing Salazar 2 or 3 times, and then bringing it back to the ad side of the court to Regalado, and it's almost not even a slash. I mean, the ball stayed so low, and the weather affected that as well. But I mean, it almost was near the snowboard. Just made it very difficult. It was a difference maker in the Nationals. Yeah, so there's a pattern I was talking about. You know, 2 or 3 balls to Salazar and that deuce side, and then one thing that'll be interesting to see too is, and Powers and Nunez did a fantastic job with this last night in their match against Ostovich and Gaverovich, 10 and Tommy. They just kind of went with the flow on.
Regalado, Salazar, they lead the first set 1-0.
They went with the flow on who was hitting the overhead. So if they were playing the deuce side and the ball moved over there, then Nunez hit a lot of the overheads. If they were playing the ad side, then Mark Powers hit a lot of the overheads. And it was effective because I believe they've communicated that. I mean, a lefty-righty usually they need to know who's hitting the overhead so the other one can play in the stagger, but it worked for them last night.
Guy Moore, I'm hesitant to jump in here because you're just doing so well by yourself, but I got a call from Patty Hogan saying her computer went down and she needed me to step in. Mark Innes here, how are you?
Good. How are you, man? Good to see you. Good to talk to you.
I was here about 5 minutes ago, but I couldn't interrupt. You were just too smooth on the mic.
Good. Here we go. Well, as I was saying, Mark, in last night's match, Powers and Nunez, and we'll see it happening here. So you have Nunez hitting the overhead, and you see how Powers will move right out of his way, and now watch it flip, and now see if Nunez keeps hitting it. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, the last time we saw these two teams play each other was that epic Nationals finals this last year. So this is going to be super exciting. The number 1 and 2 teams going at it.
Yeah, you know, early in the season. It's still early in the season, and I mean, this is the matchup. I mean, there's just so much talent on both the women's and men's side these days. The draws are so much deeper, but I think everyone at the Aronimink Club appreciates this matchup. Who wouldn't, right?
Absolutely. And as you said, early season, you know, we've had Regalado Salazar just on an absolute tear. They've won the last 3 tournaments that they've played. And something that I've really noticed is from the very first round of every tournament, they have just been locked in. There haven't been, you know, oh, we lose a first set and we're playing ourselves in. They've, you know, 0-2, 3-1. They're being so efficient and so locked in right from the get-go with every match. Wow, Mark Powers starting off early.
Well, and that's the threat. And by the way, Mark, that's exactly how Powers and Nunez need to play Regalado Salazar. They need to attack them and take advantage of their opportunities. because Regalado and Salazar are very good at playing both ways. They can play slow, they can play fast, but when you have the offense that Mark Powers has and that cutter that he has, got to take advantage of it. And that's what I like. I like the speed of that point.
1-all first set.
So you want to see Nunez.
I want to see them speed it up when the opportunity presents. You know, not force it, and that's what I think they do a really good job of. It's easy to see when they don't, and they do force it. These teams are both just too good. When somebody presses, the other team's going to pay. Meaning, they're going to end up making some errors they shouldn't because they're pressing. They need to let it come to them a little bit. But I do know this, Mark. You can't let Regalado Salazar dictate all the tempo.
And they do that so well, right, Guy? As you said, when it suits them to play slow, they can do that all day. When it suits them to speed up, they can do that too. They really are a complete team in that way.
Yeah, and that's why they're undefeated this season.
30 love.
The other thing, too, is, you know, they will take full advantage of teams making errors that are out of character. But, you know, as big as Mark Powers' forehand is, you know, he's going to swing at it. And he should.
Damn right he should. And something I think which is a good counter for that, Regalado and Salazar, I think one of their best sort of superpowers on the court is they really do a great job of letting the ball go through when it's something they don't feel comfortable volleying. Their decision-making in those split-second moments are just, you see it right there, just why try and make the volley? They're so smart at that.
Well, and the other part of that is you saw, I believe it was Salazar there. He hit that overhead. He didn't get it to the side screen. He knew Mark Powers was going to drive it, so he didn't even try to come back in. He stood 5 feet behind the service line. And if his partner volleyed the ball, he would come back in. Otherwise, he just plays it off the back screen, giving up nothing, right?
No, absolutely.
Powers just stands there, doesn't even move a flinch left or right. Just unbelievable hands.
Oh, what a return.
I'm back.
I tell you what, Patty. They better stop hitting that ball to Mark Powers' forehand.
We have Patty back in the building.
Mark, I am back, and what afternoon talking to you guys.
Patty, your feed's not sounding great. It sounds like you might have hit that fireball a little early too. We're gonna turn you down
Sometimes
and
that
regroup in a
happens.
second.
So
Deuce.
You love the intensity so early on, Guy. As I said, Regalado and Salazar, they're not taking any matches lightly. From the jump, they are playing solid. They're so focused. Every point counts to them.
I'll tell you what, I do like the tempo of Nunez and Powers early here. He got his look. That is his ball.
Did that seem intentional for them to feed it there?
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't know. It looked a little intentional. They were ready to bail.
Add in.
I don't know. I was having this conversation last night with Oliver Jones. He and I called the match last night, and you know, it's not us having this conversation 5-7 years ago. We'd both be saying, why would someone dump the ball to someone's weapon and have a rocket coming at them? But you know what? it's all percentage based. If you're hitting it there and they're driving it and missing some, or they're hitting it through and you're getting into some good transition, then so be it. I mean, you just got to ask yourself as a team, is it working?
Absolutely. And as you said, they can let it go through. They're not really taking the risk as the net team.
My partner, what's the rule? But to him. Yeah, I understand. What's the rule here? It's a hindrance?
Yes, that sounded like you called the ball out to me.
No. But I was.
It was out for him.
I'll send it to him. Yeah. So it's
I know you were, but it was loud enough and they stopped
so
playing.
If we speak during the point loud enough, it's hindrance?
In that occurrence, it was.
We see over there
Game Regalado
Nunez
Salazar.
calling to
They
his
lead the
partner
first set, 2
that he
games
felt the
to
ball,
1.
he should leave it, but Regalado
I thought-
Salazar. Say that again, Guy?
It sounded like
I thought it.
Okay. No, but the ball was in the air. It didn't bounce. I didn't make the goal after it bounced. I made the goal in the air after they hit.
yes. You continued play, but they stopped play because of the out call, in my opinion.
But it didn't bounce. So I'm allowed to speak if the ball hasn't bounced.
I'm talking about after that.
Está bien, Guille, está bien.
But
Sí, ya
nobody,
lo hemos entendido.
but nobody spoke. After. Right? I'm trying to. I mean, I get it. You said out.
Yeah, I understand what he's saying, but it's fine. We're gonna figure it out. Just I thought it was how we stopped the point because we thought he said out. Yeah, that's all. But está bien.
I thought
It's fine.
I thought he said let it go.
You okay? 2-1.
Yeah, which is what it feels like he was trying to say, but the umpire felt like there was enough hindrance, and Regalado Salazar stopped play there, so they got the point. Guy, we're welcoming to the booth Mr. Bruce Redpath. He's going to be running the show for the Philly Nationals, the 2025 Philly Nationals, which are going to be played at Philly Cricket. Welcome to the booth, Bruce.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Guy. Patty, sorry you're not able to reach this, but thank you guys. Great match today.
This is a nice surprise on a Sunday morning for me, Bruce.
Yeah, most of our meetings were, at other times, but it's great to see you. Wish you were in person, Guy. We'd like to get you back north.
Likewise, the Nationals. Let's plan on that.
Did you change your picture yet?
I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm gonna get a white tracksuit. Put it on there for you.
15 all.
Bruce, this is a nice taste for what possibly could come at Philly Nationals, and it's right here in front of a Philly crowd. That must feel good for you.
Yeah, it's great. It's Aronimink, JC, they do such a great job. This community over here is really active and totally into it. And as you can see from the turnout and the fans and the weather's always great. But yeah, it's a great turnout here, and great vibe and great setup for Nationals. And JC's on our committee. He's got the signs up, and it's great. Really exciting.
Can you tell us a little bit about what having Nationals in Philly is going to sort of mean to the paddle community?
I think overall for us, especially at our club, it'll be the first time we've ever hosted. In 1991, 2003, 2010, 2017, those were all held over here on the main line. So this is the actual first one that'll be in Philly. And so for our community over there, it'll be awesome. And we have already, we've had meetings for, we were at Boston last year watching, and we've had meetings once a month. We got a committee of 35 people that are working hard on getting it ready. So we look forward to, it's great to see these early season matchups and these rivalries that are building. The women's final was great. These guys this is going to be going on for a while. So we're really excited to bring this talent to the region, which continues to grow. And the rackets process, as you can see from places like Aronimink here, they've got a lot of assets and interest in not only this, but the whole paddle community itself. Not, their inner clubs are great, and they do a big event in PA States as well. So we're happy to be here.
Well, it's definitely going to be a fantastic event. As you said, you guys are planning ahead, putting in a lot of effort. Any calls to action for people out there that would be helpful?
participate, stay healthy. We're going to have a 64 draw for the men and the women. We're also going to have a 32 challenger draw for the men. There just is that much more interest to get as many people to be a part of it. So if anybody is interested in any sort of sponsorship opportunities, feel free to reach out to me directly. You can get in touch with me through the APTA. And if anybody has any questions, wants to talk about it, wants to be a part of it, has a business that wants to be invested in it, let me know. Outside of that, for the participants, we really would like to fill both those draws on the men's and the women's side. And I think the 32 will fill as well. So March 6th through 9th, 2025.
40-30.
Incredible. Well, it was awesome having you in the booth, and we're really excited for Philly Nationals. Bruce, back to this fantastic match right here now.
Thank you.
And you see after that, Nunez and Powers started this game. I don't want to say slow, but just still probably thinking about the last changeover when Nunez called a ball out that was in the air and landed in. But they're beyond it now.
Yeah, it always takes a couple points just to get it out of your head when you do have one of those moments.
Well, it's when there's uncertainty, like, what happened? What'd I do, you know? And this is a typical point from both of these teams. They could play slow all day, and then they could speed it up. You could, Mark, you could kind of see them watch. I'll tell you what, with them swinging the ball a little bit, which I for sure don't disagree with. I mean, both Nunez and Powers have unbelievable forehands volleys in the middle. You just saw Nunez hit 30 overheads, and now you're going to see Powers. And this is what I was mentioning earlier. This is kind of the tactic they've been using. And as long as they're on the same page with it, see how they're switching now? It's not them moving the ball right back to Regalado on the ad side.
No, it's such a luxury of being a lefty-righty team, especially when you both have attacking overheads, right? And as you said, it's not that there's no sort of rhyme or reason to what they're doing. They just really, when you can attack both sides like this, you allow neither player to really get a rhythm and get locked in. So it's such a benefit of being that lefty-righty team, both with attacking overheads. Wow.
And that's the only downside is, just a little miscommunication because they're swinging the ball there.
But yeah, it's really interesting. Keep going, Guy.
I was just going to say, by the way, I mean, being realistic, you could be doing everything right, and still you can't. Your expectation to think you should win every single point, I mean, we're arrogant enough to think we should win every single point, but we're smart enough to know that we can't. So even if they're doing the right thing, I mean, you're not going to win every point. It's just the way it is.
Absolutely, just the nature of racket sports, and that's why you'll sort of hear partners encourage each other if they feel like their partner's miss was at least the right shot, right? Were they doing the right thing? That's kind of your holy grail in racket sports and in paddle is, are you taking the right shots for the right moment? You can't guarantee you're going to make it. There's going to be misses for sure, but it's taking those shots that you feel are the right ones. Gia just carving it up here. Nunez with that lefty overhead.
There's more the overhead. There's more the overhead that Nunez was hitting a lot at the Nationals last year, letting it drop more. It's not a cutter, Mark. It's a slider. The ball just slides and it doesn't. I mean, that was a heck of a get by Regalado.
None. I can't think of a match where I've really seen Salazar and Regalado look uncomfortable at the baseline. They're just elite defenders, but they pull the trigger when it's the right shot. They really are comfortable back there.
Well, and the other thing about hitting all these spin and slash and cutter overheads that Nunez and Powers are both so good at is, you know, Regalado and Salazar know this. It flat out wears you out. I mean, it takes a lot more effort to hit that ball that Powers just hit than a push overhead down the middle.
And even just movement-wise, to your point there, it feels like the net team is moving more right now than the baseline team, which, you know, is a pretty good indicator as well of who's controlling the point to a degree. So even though these amazing overheads are coming at Regalado Salazar, they don't seem to always be working the hardest from that baseline. Wow.
Add out.
That's the one to be careful of with Regalado. He will sit and climb that side screen over there, and he's not worried about the ball being hit hard as an overhead because Salazar's already drifted 3 boards to our right, his left of the center hash mark. I mean, he's there to help if that ball goes hard side back when Alvi Regalado's committed to the side screen or up the side screen.
And he just always looks in control, guy. Regalado never looks like he's, you know, trying too hard or swinging too hard. Oh. Wow. Epic hands battle. Powers and Nunez back to the net.
It's one to be careful of with Regalado over there. And you feel right now that Nunez and Powers are having to work really hard to win a point.
Game Regalado Salazar. They lead the first set 3-1.
Nunez looking a little frustrated early. Salazar up to serve.
And this is where Salazar and Regalado can provide some separation. Nunez and Powers do not want to play a fast game here.
And the thing that makes it tough is you just sort of know Regalado and Salazar aren't going to give you an easy point here.
Yeah, that's just their temperament. If they do make 1 or 2 mistakes, it's very rare that they're making them together. So Salazar might miss a ball here and there, or Regalado, but they're not doing it together where their opponents are winning those quick games, and the momentum shifts with those quick games. They right the ship very quickly. And like you said, there's just not a lot of times where they give you free points.
And I
which leads to the pressure from the other team saying, what do I have to do to win a point?
Absolutely.
30 love.
And I think a lot of that really comes from that focus early on in the tournament. It's really, if you're going into every match, even though you know you should win on paper, but you're trying to not give anything free, it's a trained behavior that becomes kind of part of how you play. Seems like they're really trying to target Nunez here, get him while he's down. Definitely feels like they prefer him driving through them over the Powers forehand. Was that good?
40 love.
Yeah, it was. It was in.
I guess not.
Game Regalado Salazar. They lead the first set 4-1.
Mark, let me tell you about one of our sponsors, Volley. Train in real game scenarios with serve and volley, the world's first responsive play drill. Volley's new AI-powered feature tracks your position, the ball, and returns every serve for targeted practice. Try it today on the Volley app.
What do you think of the start of that match there, Guy?
Well, first couple games were more of what I wanted to see from Nunez and Powers, but this is a typical match for Regalado Salazar. I mean, the thing about them, Mark, is they are just, I mean, we've used this word over and over, and I started using it last year at the Nationals. They go into lockdown mode where they just don't miss. They aren't flashy, right? They don't have to hit a bunch of cutters and slashes, and they just do everything. They do all the basics so well, and what I mean by that is they don't fault. They don't miss a lot of serve returns. If someone serves so big, they just go into the mindset more on Regalado's side than Salazar's, where he'll just lob the ball. He's not willing to miss a return, and they don't miss first volleys, so they're into every point. And that goes back to there's just no free ones.
And no free points is really hard when you feel like you have to now create all the offense and actually win the point, and it can get you down pretty quickly. I think the incredible thing right now is that Nunez and Powers are the guys on the other side of the court, so they're not going to go. They're going to rise to the occasion. So I think that we're going to be in for quite a next rest of this set and second set, possibly a third.
Yeah, so then the question becomes, how do you change the momentum a little bit here? And I do think that you have to attack these guys. You can't let them sit back and dictate the tempo. You just can't.
Which I definitely think we're going to see Nunez and Powers do, and part of when they do go down is just missing some of those ones that they are going to be attacking. So I think you're right, and I think that they're going to come out at it. I think of that third set at the Boston Nationals when Nunez really just started playing pretty into the court and going after overheads. I think that is the way that they need to play and that they're going to start to turn on.
And it's the little things, Mark, again, with Powers and Nunez from an overhead perspective. And again, is it working or not? Is it causing confusion or not? You see how they will swing the ball, and that's what I mean. It's no big deal, right? They drove through them, they let it go, but still, it's who's volleying the ball in the middle, because they are switching off who's hitting overheads, which is much trickier with the lefty-righty.
Very true.
So yeah, sorry, Mark. What I mean by that is if you're both looking to hit the overhead, then no one's looking to volley. So you saw Nunez and Powers on that last ball that went through. Not either one of them looked to hit that volley. So
Nunez and Powers get the net back.
Regalado and Salazar do a good job of hitting, taking shots with their drive, not with one intent to win the point, but just targeting them, and it just makes their next lob better.
Yeah, and it's like
Like that ball there, that's
always look in control. They never look like they're trying too hard.
Yeah, those previous to Salazar pumping that forehand, but the one by like that, that's just a little probing ball to pull him in, and look where Salazar lobs, right? Pulls him in and lobs him. And they're just hoping to get an easy ball off the deck that they can step up and drive. Notice they're mixing their lobs up. They're lobbing Nunez, right? They're lobbing down the line. Believe me, Regalado and Salazar know that Powers and Nunez are both hitting overheads, so they want to create the confusion. And also, by the way, Nunez and Powers are good enough to pull it off, too.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see what Nunez and Powers can figure out to make Regalado Salazar uncomfortable at the baseline there.
Well, I honestly think that, you know, teams that are playing Regalado and Salazar, and they need to make Regalado and Salazar feel like they have to press. They just, you know, when you go out there and play these two, you got to say to yourself, you know what, it's going to be a long day. Just going to be a long day. There's
15 all.
And those are tough points. It's just Regalado Salazar don't miss and they hurt you. And when they take the net, you have to work so hard to get it.
30-15.
It really messes with you as a net team.
You know, that brings up a good point, Mark. Is, hey, is it worth giving the net up because you have to work so hard to win a point? Because more of the offense comes from the baseline. I mean,
I feel like when they're at the net as well, though, it's because they volley so well, not necessarily because they're putting so much pressure on the overheads, that you have to work so hard and try drive through them too. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see which is the better dynamic. Neither's going to be easy because they're just such a complete team.
well, the thing that Regalado and Salazar do as well is, you know, take someone like Nunez, who is so good at moving forward, and I mean, it's a huge part of his game. When I say moving forward, moving up and blitzing from the baseline, but we haven't seen much of that today. And then you go back to a great match at the Chicago Charities, Adam Morgan and it was Eric West and Tyler Frazier playing against Regalado Salazar. Great match, and Tyler Frazier is so good at coming forward and blitzing, but they just do a good job of taking away what you do best.
Yeah, nothing hurts them.
Well, I think we're saying this, and we'll keep it as simple as possible. You ready, Mark?
Tell me.
They just make a lot fewer mistakes than their opponents, and that's it.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. No free points. They still hurt you. It's a pretty complete team. Keep using that word, but you know, you think of the patience of a Drew Broderick, the offense of a Johan. I can't think of what a weakness is. Yes, maybe their overheads aren't the flashiest, but their volleys hurt you.
And the thing about their overheads, because they play side by side, is they're rarely hitting overheads off their back foot. And they're that team that can volley from a foot inside the service line, which is a tough place to volley.
There, I think a couple intentional short overheads from Nunez. When we were in Chicago Charities, he filmed a tip for the APTA, and it was actually exactly that. Hit the push overhead short on purpose and look to close in and stick the volley into open court when your opponents do drive. So it's a play he thinks about. We'll see if it pays off.
40-30.
Didn't pay off there.
Yeah, I'm not too sure Mr. Powers likes to play all that much, but we'll see.
But hey, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
No, I will say this. What it does is it creates bad transitions. So, I mean, obviously to have that tactic, you better have really good volleys and understand that the only ball you should be looking for is the one coming hard and fast at you. And it's become more of a something that players think about it at the high level. I think from a club perspective, we're not going to see, encourage people to hit short overheads. But here, if you want to create transition and get people off the baseline that are good at standing back there like Regalado and Salazar, you've got to create movement.
I don't know, Guy. I think it's a good move. I think next team practice you're teaching, maybe a couple of short balls for everyone. Take a couple drives. Wow. Are you kidding me?
Team Nunez Powers.
Ollie.
But
But,
still,
I think
he forced the baseline team to take some swings, and at least that makes something happen. So, they were going so attacking on the overheads that Regalado Salazar just didn't have to make any decisions besides defense, and now at least it's sort of making them take some swings. I like it. I don't know if it's sustainable over a whole match, but it's definitely good to up the tempo.
Oh, think about, too, what we've talked about in the past just from a tactical perspective. How do you speed up a paddle match from the net? Well, hit your overheads harder, hit rollers, hit cutters, hit hard side backs. You're speeding it up, but you also can speed it up by the conversation we're having, hitting something shorter that doesn't force your opponents to drive, but they want to drive, and then the volley and those quick exchanges, which Nunez is so good at.
Absolutely.
And so is Power. I mean, they're all good at it, but still, Regalado, Salazar standing back there, lobbing the ball when they want to lob, driving it when they want to drive. Now Nunez and Powers are saying, hey, we'll create a situation where you got to come forward, and then you get into those quick hand-to-hand combats. See, this is more the style of the point that Nunez and Powers want to be playing.
Absolutely, and they forced that by dumping a couple of these easier balls in, baiting Regalado Salazar to drive, especially if you feel like your volleys sort of can handle the drive that's coming at you. Why not?
Well, too, the reason Nunez and Powers are working really hard, too, is because Salazar and Regalado's lobs are
15 all.
they're good, they're deep, so they're pushing them back and making them move.
There it is. It's a good combination. Now you're getting some really attacking overheads. We see Nunez coming alive. He's definitely got that fire back in his footwork right now. You're seeing him just a little intensity. He's starting to lock in. He's starting to think, how is he going to beat Regalado Salazar?
You got to switch back out here quickly. Yep.
One thing's for sure, Guy, Nunez is just a competitor, just an absolute gamer. Just baiting him. Oh,
right.
There we go his way that time.
15.
Yeah, that was like a feed out of a basket, wasn't it?
Just dangling that carrot.
Yeah, slide your hand over, get that continental feed grip going, just open your paddle face and just hit it.
What it also does, though, guys, it makes Nunez and Powers attacking overheads more effective, though, because, if you're just used to getting these attacking overheads and rollers, you start to lock in. You get used to the movements, but now you're moving slow. You know, you're not really having to move that much, and then when Nunez and Powers do choose to speed up the overheads, it should be a little bit more effective.
It's a good ball by Powers getting it to the side back. That's
And now they ramp up that overhead patterns. Oh,
40-15.
really solid play by Regalado Salazar, but you feel like Nunez and Powers are getting the looks that they want. They're seeing the things that they need to, so it feels like the right strategic adjustments.
And, you know, a volley like that from Powers, I mean, saw the open court, just pulled it a little wide, but
40-30.
you know, the other thing too, Mark, is think about it, right? When is the last time you saw?
Salazar, they lead the first set 5-2.
When's the last time you saw him playing from behind? I mean, I can tell you the last time I know they did, but when do you know?
I don't.
You can get it.
Oh,
you can get it. Come on.
At Nationals final?
There you go. That's it.
There you go. You're talking about Regalado Salazar.
Yeah.
They
I mean,
lost that first set, right?
Yeah, I mean, they just don't play from behind much. So that again, it puts pressure on their opponents, saying, "I'm always playing, I'm trying to catch up."
And they are such great front runners because of their game style. You know, if they just give you nothing, so you're really gonna have to play yourself back in to beat them, which again is not easy. Yeah, they're such great front runners because of that. Nunez up to serve. They're 5-2 down. Again, it felt to me like they saw the things that they maybe needed to in that game, which doesn't mean they're going to win this set, but at least it takes you into another set sort of feeling like, okay, I have a strategy now and I'm a little more locked in. Let's see what happens. But yeah, this game is also big again, just to feel like Nunez and Powers are figuring something out. You can see they're not just rushing into it. They're going to take their time here, and even if they don't win this game, they want to feel like they're figuring something out.
Yeah, making them work to win the set, and then hopefully carry a little of that momentum into the second set, which is very realistic.
Love.
What do you think they were talking about, Mark?
I thought that one of them had called the serve out. It was a very casual switch.
You think we'll see more of Nunez hitting overheads here?
I think they're going to go with their combo, yeah, of this little good cop, bad cop. Nunez is going to push some, bait the drive, and then when Powers says enough's enough, he's going to take it over a little bit. But it definitely feels like they're targeting Salazar a little bit, not just because of the Nunez overhead going into his corner, but maybe he'll give you a few more errors. Or they just feel like his drive can't hurt them quite as much.
Well, what happens with Salazar with his drive is he drives to create a series of drives. So he drives one, and if you hit him a short volley, I mean, the next ball, he's going to spot it and drive again, and he'll drive 3 in a row if he needs to. But the ball has so much rotation and spin on it, and it's so heavy that if your hands aren't right where they're supposed to be, it's trouble.
Trouble indeed, and we see Nunez catching the top of the screen. Ball takes a funny bounce off the crossbar. Salazar couldn't catch up.
40, love.
And again, like we just said, win or lose this set, this is a very important game.
And you can see Powers and Nunez know that. They're taking their time. They want this one.
Game Nunez and Powers. Games are 5 games to 3, first set.
There it
So
is.
there it is, and that's one of the loosest games I've seen Salazar and Regalado play. Let's see if that is the loosest game they played the entire match. When I say loose, just making errors that they just generally don't make.
Absolutely.
Love 15.
Definitely feels like they're going more at Salazar. He
Well,
seems
that's-
to be a little bit down. Can they catch him in a slump and come back in this set?
And I think the teams that will compete well with Salazar and Regalado need to be lefty-righty. They need to have that variety, and I think Nunez's overhead needs to dictate it here. Certainly did in the Nationals. And then you have Powers, who just at the biggest moments will always be there. Always be there.
Wow.
15 all.
Salazar looks like he's going to hit it cross court. Nunez anticipates that poach, and Salazar just holds it and goes behind him. Great court awareness.
That's what I was saying earlier, too. You don't see Salazar and Regalado switching at the net. He hit overheads. They both, and it keeps them both engaged, but that's such a tough volley by Nunez.
He's definitely pressing to get the net. It feels like, you know, when they have been at the net now, it's obviously a lot easier for them to just target Salazar. It feels like that's an important part of their strategy.
Mark, do you remember that lob volley at the Nationals that Nunez hit between his legs in the middle of the court, and it actually went over? I don't know if it was Regalado Salazar, but
30, 15.
I think about it twice daily, guy. Lives in my head rent free. No, it's unbelievable when he just starts to really lock in and plays inside the court and tries to push it a bit. He's a phenom.
40, 15.
2 set points here for Regalado Salazar. And there it is, guy. First set, 6-3. Regalado Salazar take it. Definitely felt like Nunez and Powers saw a little bit of what they want to, but they're gonna have to bring it in the second set because Regalado and Salazar give nothing away for free. Let's go take a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back, guy.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Hi everyone, my name is Vera Bisanova. I'm the head pro from Short Hills Club in New Jersey, and today I have a tip on driving for you. Quite often I see players staying open with the weight on the back of their feet, which makes them be off balance. But if you can turn sideways, now you can bring your power forward with you on the drive. I'm Vera Bisanova. Hope this helps you with your drives, and good luck.
Welcome back to the APTA Tour. We're here at the Aronimink Open in Philadelphia, PA. The men's finals. Mark Powers, Guillermo Nunez playing Jose Salazar and Alvi Regalado. You have Jose Salazar to the top left of our screen, playing the forehand side of the court. You have Alvi Regalado to the top right of our screen. They're both dressed the same. They look the same. So, I mean, I can't even say one in the black shorts or green shirt or blue shoes. I mean, they both look good over there, right, Mark?
Just say go with Regalazar. Team Regalazar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we just introduced them both at once.
That's it. Amen.
And then you have Mark Powers, who just hit that overhead in the gray shirt. And what do you call those? Like a Nantucket red shorts, Mark? What do you think? What colorway is that?
That's the shade I was picking up, yes.
Okay, good. And then you have Guillermo Nunez, lefty, just hitting that overhead. So good first set. Regalado Salazar controlled most of it. There was, I think a little bit of a momentum shift at the end of that set with Nunez and Powers. Nunez hitting more of the overheads and doing, I don't want to say damage, but keeping Salazar on his heels a little bit more. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, it definitely felt like Nunez and Powers got a little bit of momentum back. But again, what's so tough is just Team Regalazar gives you nothing for free. So you have to play so clean to keep that momentum that you got back. So how they start here is going to be big for Nunez and Powers because, Alvi Regalado, big return, big move forward. He finishes it with the poach volley. Such an explosive mover. But yeah, this start is really going to be big because I hadn't thought about it before, but you're right, guy. Team Regalazar is just such good front runners. When they do get that lead and they get a break, you know you're not going to get it back, so you really have to earn it back, and that's not easy in paddle.
So you remember that game that Regalado Salazar played late in the first set, you know, where they missed a couple lobs long and maybe one other error in there that they usually don't make. We'll see if that's the only game they play like that the rest of the match. I say it is.
Yep, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised. And that's why our Nationals final in Boston was such an epic battle, because Powers and Nunez, you know, played up to the occasion and were really bringing it to Regalazar, but they were playing just as solid, and that's why it went the distance.
You know, interesting too, and we haven't discussed this. Yeah, I mean, that pressure is important. You know, we haven't discussed this either. I mean, obviously the temperature in Boston, much damper, much cooler. I mean, this whole first part of the season, I mean, not that all these players can't play in different temperatures and adjust, but you know, maybe the temperature will help teams like Nunez and Powers against these guys where the ball stays down a little bit. See, I love that combination by him. That's that slider, right? That overhead. It never came off the deck.
You love the slider.
I do.
No, it's a great combination, but you know, as we've seen, he can't just use it the whole time. Otherwise, that is when Salazar and Regalado get used to it and they kind of get in their groove. He's starting to mix it up, brings it out at the right times, and that's what makes it effective.
Yeah, but beyond his arm, like laying on the court, right?
It's definitely a lot of effort.
You notice there, Salazar didn't even blink it coming in. I mean, Regalado came in just because if somebody hit something floating, but no need to get caught in bad transition.
No, they just make no bad choices.
And when I say bad transition, I'm meaning making a late decision to come in and ending up, near the service line when that ball's being driven back at your feet.
There's
And
those
that's what I was
driving
talking
patterns.
about.
There's those
Yep,
ones you like,
exactly.
guy.
Yep. Other thing, Mark, that is sometimes goes unnoticed. Look at how many balls Salazar is actually blocking back and not letting it go to the screen.
Oh, it's good. Did you see it?
Call overruled, but Nunez says it was out. Could have been more to stick it to the umpire a little bit, but either way, good sportsmanship.
These guys are all good friends. I mean, it's I mean, doesn't matter how much they're battling. I mean, the class is pretty cool to always see.
Game Regalado Salazar.
And this is
They lead the second
this is where
set, 1-0.
teams just have to be careful, because the other thing about Regalado Salazar is, say they win a tight first set, there's never really any letdown going into the second set. They don't take a breath until they shut the gate and walk out and the match is over. That's it.
They really don't, and I've said it today, but that's how they've played the last 3 tournaments from the first match. They're just all business. They're every point, every game, they don't give you anything, and they're just so locked in. It's unbelievable.
I think a better tactic against him is offer to buy them dinner the night before and just try to just get them to have a bit of a good time or something.
I mean, you might have to be on the management team for Powers Nunez and orchestrate that. Dinner and a good time. I think you're in charge of that for sure.
I was going to say, you think I could pull that off?
I think you got it in your wheelhouse.
Yeah,
these
whatever.
First 3
whatever
games are going to be big, guy. As you said, it's Nunez Powers don't have much wiggle room yet to go too far down, because otherwise that is a steep mountain to climb to come back against Team Regalado.
15-love.
You got to remember. You got to remember too that the difference between Salazar and Regalado this season is they have that much more experience under them than they did at the Nationals last year.
You're absolutely right.
And Mark, you see them. I don't know what their tournament schedule is, but you see how much they played this year already. So a lot of the top teams don't want to play as many tournaments together because they don't want to expose themselves. In other words, letting teams figure out ways to play them. I don't think Regalado and Salazar care. They just want to play. I mean, they've played a ton of matches this year already.
They have, and they've said it before in a couple of interviews, but there's no real secrets with how they play. That you know what you're going to get, and that's kind of the hard part. Is you just know you're going to have a really tough battle. You know they're going to hurt you. You know they're going to give you nothing free. So for most teams, it means they have to come out and try hurt them. And the moment that doesn't work and they go down, they make a couple errors because they're taking all the risks. Then that's right what Regalado and Salazar want. So it's just they're so good, such a complete team.
Well, you remember that run of national championships Drew Broderick and Jared Palmer had, and everyone used to ask me, like, what makes them so good? Well, first of all, they had an unbelievable net scheme with Drew hitting overheads and Jared just some of the best hands ever in the paddle game. more importantly, they just got into that mode where they did not miss, and other teams felt pressure, and that's going back to what we said in the first set. I mean, Regalado and Salazar simply don't miss. They just don't.
Yeah, and it's a nice evolution, you know, with something similar we've seen in tennis is the Alcaraz and the Sinners. They're sort of a complete version of Djokovic, Nadal, Federer, right? Like they're that combo. And we're seeing that with the new wave of paddle players where Nunez, Salazar, Regalado, they have that kind of, especially Regalado, Salazar, that patience of a Broderick, and you know everything Broderick and Palmer could do, and then they can hurt you even more from the baseline, I think, from different spots. So it's just the new wave of players is kind of has that extra level, which is really cool to see.
And you look at even both of these teams, Regalado, Salazar, they let the point come to them because of how well they lob, and look how they're just hitting neutralizing overheads. You don't see them hitting off balance overheads, and you see how quick they close.
Yeah, I've watched quite a few of their matches, especially from the net, trying to figure out what makes them so special. And it feels, because as you said, that we have the Salazar roller, Regalado will spin it every now and then, but there's nothing that you look purely at him like, wow, how are they winning everything? But it feels like their volleys and their ability to leave those kind of balls just like that in transition. It's such a strength at the net, and they take no real risks, but they still hurt you on volleys. They make you take the risk with your drive. It's such a tough place.
Well, and they also know that their partner's going to cover for them. Like you saw that ball, he's going to let that go through all day long, and partner's already moving to cover it. That's why all the
Salazar, 2-love up.
Yeah, that's why all the transition looks pretty seamless.
What?
I don't know. What do you mean? I just say, what do you mean?
Houdini.
That ball almost hit him in the nose.
Feels like we're going to be reaching that sort of breaking point where Nunez and Powers have to buckle down and really find a way to hurt Regalado Salazar. And I'm excited to see what they come up with.
Whatever their tactic is, Mark, they've got to make Regalado Salazar feel like they got to press. There's that slider.
Right, that's a winner against 9 out of 10 teams.
Love 15.
And notice how quick. Wow. But you see how quick Regalado's, no matter how slow or fast the point goes, he's right there on that forehand. And
just
the bang-bang
two
plays.
steps ahead, right? Just feels like he's...
Yeah, well, he's there in the right position, and mentally he's like, when I see it, I'm hitting it. So far this match, from Powers and Nunez, you play these long points, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I do not want to hit 100 more balls, and then you speed it up, and
What?
But
Oh my
great volley.
goodness. But they still in the point.
Yeah,
This is
that's
the
what
kind
I
of
meant
shot
about the
making it
transition.
takes.
Yeah. And that's where you say, how much do I have to do to win a point? And we were talking about it a minute ago how they cover for one another, Regalado, Salazar. That's a great example. I mean, Powers' volley was behind Regalado, and Salazar moved over and covered that. See how many balls he's blocking? Ball keeps coming back quicker and quicker.
That is definitely something I've seen Regalado and Salazar do a lot of, is those block lobs. They really speed play up a lot of low block lobs. I saw that in Chicago a ton.
There's that little, all he's doing is, you know what, it was easier to just push that ball straight ahead than lob it. Pulls Nunez in. And that's what it is, just keeping one more ball in play. I mean, Nunez is never going to miss that 100 out of 100 times, but Regalado doesn't care.
Wow.
Love 30.
Incredible counter punches, Regalado and Salazar. They really wait for the right time.
And what you're saying,
Even that snuck in. You know, Guy, what makes this such an exciting matchup, I think, is for Nunez and Powers to beat Regalado and Salazar. They're going to have to beat them with some serious shot making, which, as fans, is going to be an awesome thing to witness, because they're going to bring out the shots because they have them, and I think that's going to be exciting throughout the season.
so what's your opinion? Are teams going to beat them playing slow, or do they have to speed it up?
It feels like they have to speed it up, but you have to really execute, right? Which, you know, not that easy because they're elite defenders and they don't give you free points to play around with. But I don't know who's going to beat them slowing it down. I know, you know, Broderick Christian had a really good first set at Milton Point last week. Who, you know, if you think of another team that could play slower than them, it's definitely a Broderick Christian. So maybe that's the matchup. Unbelievable move. LV Regalado reads the space off the net, trusts his partner's drive, and just blitzes in there.
After this game, let's talk about that Broderick Christian match against that first set. I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
Volleys are just getting so much more offensive on the men's and the women's side.
30-40. Game, Regalado, Salazar.
For sure.
Guy, we have a read from one of our sponsors, Legacy Media, helping business highlight their unique brand and enhance their company culture through the power of podcasting. Legacy Media supporting the Aronimink Open, you love to see local sponsors getting involved, you guys. So if you need those services, go and check out Legacy Media. Guy, 3-love, Regalado, Salazar are up. We know they're incredible front runners. What's it going to take for Nunez and Powers to get back in this one? A couple of those?
Well, we could start with that for sure. And I think it's going to look a bit like that. I mean, Nunez has got to do what Nunez does well. Listen, until you speed it up and play much quicker, you don't know if it's going to work or not. But obviously, the tempo of the match right now isn't working for Nunez and Powers.
Yep, and we're getting to that moment where Nunez is, it's a do or die kind of moment. So I think we're going to start to see him playing in the court, making some moves, really getting after overheads, because as you say, it's kind of a now or never thing at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, even if you try a tactic, Mark, and it's not successful, at least you know that then, right? You have to be disciplined enough to try something and stick with it and say, you know what, it's not working, or guess what, it is. You never know where to adjust from unless you have a definitive tactic.
Absolutely, and you need to find that, and that's why some of those games deep in the first set, even though you're losing, are important, just to be able to find that tactic. But this being more aggressive and going for it, it does feel like there's a time you have to really wait for. Like, okay, now we're down, and because you don't want to start off that second set really giving away some free points. Oh, wow.
So that's if you're asking me what I think needs to happen more often, and that's it. I mean, Nunez, he's one of the best in the game, doing exactly what you just saw.
So you're calling for a couple more drive-through blitz drop shot winners?
Well, it takes 24 points to win a set, so at this point, how about 48 more times?
I love it. But there we see Nunez starting to creep into the court. He's definitely trying to force the issue a bit. He's trying to create some uncertainty and speed things up. This is where we saw him come alive in that deep in the third set there in Boston Nationals. And we're going to see how it plays out today.
Well, there's another thing, right? So you're in a match like this, 6-3, 3-love. If you're going to lose, there it is. There it is.
Game Nunez and Powers. Games are 3-1 second set.
Powers and Nunez are same. But I was going to say, look, if you get in a match like this and you say, they've taken away so much of what we do well. If we're going to lose, let's go down doing what we do well. At least you'll feel better walking off the court.
Absolutely. And what is so tough against Salazar and Regalado is, they're not going to give you the free points back. So now if Powers and Nunez, they play a couple really great points, but if they make a few easy errors, that momentum's completely lost. It's such a tough part of the game style. So they'll have to really back up that momentum now. Nunez on the prowl. Smart leave by him. That was going to be a tough volley to try and take out of the air.
Notice, too, when Nunez comes forward, unless it's a floater, he's covering his line first. He's not looking. You didn't even see him flinch across the middle there.
Yes,
he's only looking at. Yep.
And that's definitely a common error for a lot of players who do choose to blitz like that. They feel like they have to take the ball, whereas you can be selective. You can leave it for your partner.
Love.
caught out of position. Regalado doing what he does, closing in, hurting with the volley.
And that's what allows them to play side by side, Mark, is that they both can close that way. There's a good example of what you just said. You see how Salazar just lets that go through? Doesn't.
So smart.
They trust each other to cover. By the way, I have a question, Mark.
Talk to me.
What does booyah mean? You? What does that mean?
Tuya. Yes.
What does that mean?
You.
How do you
Booyah.
spell that?
Tuya? I want to say it's Tuya. 2 words.
Tuya?
That's my, I'm like a 2nd grader Spanish level, so that's my spelling.
Okay.
1540.
But
I'm just gonna say
booyah would be cool
yeah.
to bring out. I like that. We might want to
No, I'm thinking-
let him know.
I think that's how I'm saying it.
You might be right, Guy. They might be big Ali G fans and just subtle homage to him.
Well, the other thing too, Mark, is, you know, when Salazar Regalado do lose a game, they right the ship pretty much immediately.
They really do. You probably have 2 bad games out of them a match.
Well, we're still stuck with the one so far, right? Just the one game late first set, that's it so far.
Guy, how many undefeated, might be too early to be saying this, but how many undefeated seasons can you think of?
Okay. I can think of O. Miller Gambino.
Okay.
I can think of Broderick Gambino. Good so far?
So far, as far as I know. I can think of Hanish Sabori.
Okay, yep, exactly.
Did Broderick Palmer ever have an undefeated season?
I was just going to say Broderick Palmer. Maybe Drew, if he's listening, can chime in.
Wow. And that's what it's going to take, which, as fans, we're here for. We're here for the highlight reel.
Well, actually, that is kind of what it takes to win a point, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Game, Regalado, Salazar. They lead the second set 4-1.
Mark, let me tell you about one of our great sponsors, Corient. Corient is the official wealth sponsor of the APTA's 2024-25 season. Corient is a fee-only wealth manager who puts their clients at the center of everything they do. Learn more at corient.com.
4-1, Regalado Salazar lead the second set. Incredible front runners. It's going to take some serious shot making to get back into this from Nunez and Powers, Guy.
I just got a message from our missed commentator today, Patty Hogan. She says, Patty Hogan and Pendergast undefeated.
Let's go. Love it.
Nice.
You would think Durant must have had an undefeated season. Big return from Nunez.
And I already got a text from Drew Broderick. He said, correct, 2 undefeated seasons, one with Chris Gambino and one with Jared Palmer. So,
15 all.
Mark, I'd say we are pretty good there.
I love it.
Where'd you come up with that question, by the way?
You know, I was curious about it. If you think they're Regalado Salazar, they're 3 for 3 in tournaments. They played the right game style to go for an undefeated season. They're so consistent.
You're right.
It'll be interesting to see. Again, early to say, but they seem so locked in and focused. But we have
All
two
right,
break
Mark.
points here early.
Mark, how did you spell Tuya? How do you spell it?
TuyA.
All right. Marco Granziero confirms that. Thank you, Marco.
And there's a break.
2-4 second set.
The Salazar serve goes down. Nunez and Powers serving to get back on track here. They've been given a little bit of life there, Guy. Oh, Regalado reads the spin. He tracks it down, reaches over.
Wow.
We saw at Nationals final, there was a super fun point like that, Guy, where Regalado, same thing, he got there, but he just brought it back and tapped it into the net. Gave Nunez a smile, and it was an unbelievable highlight. Let's go.
15 all.
This is the tempo, I think, that, at least for this match, based on what we've seen, that has to continue. It's got to be speed, attacking.
You're absolutely right, and the hard part's going to be the executing. Little momentum going Nunez and Powers' way. And we've seen that over and over, Guy. Every time there is a bit of momentum, Regalado, Salazar bring out a big play. Yes, Nunez volley's makeable there, but they're asking a lot of hard questions, Regalado and Salazar, and that's just what they do.
40-30.
Huge volley by Mark Powers. Guillermo Nunez is smiling. This is going to get exciting right now.
Yeah, the tempo, well, it goes back to what we just said a minute ago. Win or lose doing what you do best. I mean, you got to at this point. And you get to a point too, Mark, and this match is a good example where you say, you know what, we've tried a bunch of different tactics. None of them are working. Let's keep digging and go one more. And this is very familiar to late in the third set in the finals of the Nationals. You know, this tempo and pace.
It sure is. And at this stage, it feels like it's going to come down to execution, and Guillermo Nunez should be called the executor because he steps up at the big moment.
Softest hands in the game, and you know that always looks cool coming from a lefty too, you know. Wingspan there.
So cool. They are one break back. Regalado, Salazar up to serve to go 5-3 up. Nunez and Powers are stepping up. They're still not out of trouble, but they're executing. They're going for it. I think we're in for some epic games right now, Guy.
And this is where Nunez and Powers. I mean, it's great that I think also too that they do want the net. I mean, Nunez and Powers do want the net. But this is where Regalado and Salazar tend to turn things around in a hurry when some momentum starts going against them.
Wow.
And I was just gonna say the tempo and the tempo change here has been, especially at the net, been dictated by Nunez playing and hitting most of those overheads. So I hope Powers and Nunez see that.
And full credit to Salazar there, him and Regalado, it's their MO, right? No momentum. They hurt you when they need to. You're going to have to win every point, which, if that's the case in paddle, the odds are not in your favor.
Well, you know what it is? They, in a very positive way, they don't have, from an emotional standpoint, a ton of ups and downs. You know, there's not these unbelievable highs, and there's certainly not any real lows. So and that goes back to them just being very steady and not making silly mistakes and good decisions.
No, you're absolutely right.
That's what allows them when they lose a couple games like that. I mean, guess what? Powers and Nunez played lights out.
Yeah, they won those games. So even
exactly.
when Regalado and Salazar do lose a game or two, it's usually because the other team won it, right? Which is going to happen.
Well, right. Which goes against, when you're talking about paddle, sometimes your best strategy is letting your opponents beat themselves. But, for Regalado and Salazar, you actually have to beat them. Guess they don't beat themselves.
And that's why we love this matchup, because it's gonna bring the fireworks every single time. Oh, Nunez goes for the cutter, doesn't quite commit, does not go their way.
It was the right time, though. Look, by the way, I mean, you could see that Nunez Powers having a lot more fun playing this way, right? Win or lose.
Win or lose, go for it. Probably have to wait for the timing to be right, but yes, I believe that's definitely their best game style.
Game, Regalado, Salazar, they lead the second set, 5 games to 3.
Regalado, Salazar, just solid as ever. They keep trucking on, they keep closing out this match. Mark Powers up to serve. They have another shot at it right here. Can they stay in the finals of the Aronimink Open?
The other interesting thing, too, Mark, is when Regalado and Salazar have these leads like they do, they don't get loose. They don't play like bad front runners, meaning they don't take unnecessary risks just because the score suggests maybe they could. They just don't. They just keep playing the same way. So, like we just said, Powers and Nunez play 2 incredible games. You don't see Regalado, Salazar changing one thing, because you know what they're saying? They're saying, look, if you're going to beat us, you better play 12 games like that, because that's what it's going to take.
And where do you feel like that comes from, Guy? Just they have the mentality and that's how it works. Where does that sort of come from?
It comes with being great at anything, Mark. If you're going to be great, your mentality and your discipline and the way you think about things and your decision making and your maturity and your knowledge of the game. I mean, those things are all, they're a package.
Mark Powers bringing out some shot making. Oh, that is just ridiculous.
15-30.
That was not an easy volley by Mark Powers. He stuck it right at Alvi Regalado, but paddle was ready. Alvi Regalado stuck it back.
The thing about the matches that you've watched from Regalado Salazar, do any of them look different from the next? Do they?
They don't. That's kind of
exactly
the point that makes them so good.
Well, so that's it. I mean, the real difference in them, certainly up until this point this season, and from the middle of last season on, is they match up with their style of play. They match up well with anybody. That's it.
15-40.
2 match points here. This will make it 4 tournaments in a row for Regalado Salazar. Just missed. 1 match point saved. What a serve into that side screen guy.
Match point, lockdown 101, Mark. See how they're moving their lobs around? They'll do this all day.
They really are precise with how they see the court and how they open up the court, Regalado and Salazar.
Well, by moving the lobs around, in other words, making Nunez hit one, Powers hit one, first of all, lefty-righty, hopefully create some confusion, but they're just wanting to create movement of the ball, meaning they want Regalado involved, Salazar involved. They want the ball swinging. Like, that breaks down the net team's positioning. So you see immediately he goes down the line, ball goes back to Regalado. Down the line, back to Salazar, see? And then eventually there will be a big hole or space for them to drive through, which is very high percentage.
Yep. No, they really open up the court so well, and it's such a good indicator of who's in control by who's moving less, right? Is the baseline team moving less? Is the net team moving less? Mark Powers opening it up here, starting to take a couple cuts, speed up play.
Well, don't.
Wow.
No.
Regalado Salazar get the net. And this is just where they're going to force you to do something, and their volleys are waiting for it. Mark Powers takes a crack at that forehand.
There's something.
That's why we love this matchup. It's
Did you hear that sound off? Did you hear that sound off his paddle?
Sounds like a gunshot.
Bang.
Oh! No ways! How did that stay in, guy?
I have no idea.
No! Can he pick it up? Stop it. The crowd is oohing and ahhing. This is a ridiculous match point.
Again, shades of the Nationals. Craziness.
Wow.
Wow.
Game,
Whoa.
set, match, Regalado, Salazar, 6 games to 3, 6 games to 3.
Unbelievable match point there, guy. It makes us excited for the rest of the season and more of these matchups. I'm going to run down to the court to get the camera set up for our courtside interview. Great commentating with you.
Likewise, Mark. Well, we have Mark going down to get JC Cotto set up for an on-court interview. We'll let them get set up real quickly, and then we'll offer our final thoughts on the match. But I'll tell you what, mine at this point is the way those last 3 or 4 games went. That's the template for Powers and Nunez, and I'm excited to see them the next time they play.
our finalists, Guillermo Nunez and Mark Powers. First off, we want to thank all the members at Aronimink Golf Club, the staff, our gold sponsors, Calm Advisory, and the Finity family, D2 Groups and the Dickey family, Legacy Media, and Mr. Mike McGrath, McDonald's, and the Dome family, Gwen Barnes Real Estate. We appreciate everyone's support. Guys, tough match today, but great tournament overall. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, that's a good memory, man. Thank you, Juanqui, for the tournament. Thank you, everybody at the APTA, the fans. It was fun to play here. Congrats to Regalado. Good playing, guys. No, but it was amazing. Really fun weekend. Good to be back with Mark here. It's a long season, so looking forward for the next. Yeah.
It was a great weekend. We had phenomenal weather all weekend. The membership and the fans, and obviously tournament director, put on a great weekend. It was nice to have what felt like 100 fans out here this morning watching this match. Sometimes Sunday mornings can be tough, but everyone came out to support the players and the tournament. So it was a great weekend. Alvi and Jose played a phenomenal match. You know, they were sharp the entire time and really made us have to win points, it felt like 8 times to actually close out the point. So, you know, hats off to them. But yeah, it was a lot of fun being out here.
Cool. Well, thanks, guys. Congrats again on a great tournament, and we look forward to seeing you back in March in Philly.
Thank you, man.
Yep. Fine. Congrats, boys. Fine. Okay, now coming over, the first ever men's champions for the Aronimink Open, Alvi Regalado and Jose Salazar. Congrats, boys. Great match. Awesome play, super solid. You guys seem to have a great game plan today. You guys came firing out of the gate. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, first of all, we want to thank you for organizing this great tournament. It's been amazing. The fans, the food, the service, everything's been great. So we truly appreciate for putting this together. I hope next year APTA gives you that Grand Prix, because this is a great club and great membership here. So yeah, it's fun. It's always fun to play Guille and Mark. It's always fun to play next to this guy. He's been carrying me for a long time now, so I hope he keeps on doing that. So yeah, shout out to him.
Jose, any thoughts?
Thank you so much for everything. It's such a good tournament, well run. A lot of people watching yesterday and today, so we really, from all the players, we really appreciate it. And you know, it's been a fun season with these guys so far. A lot of work behind the scenes that a lot of people don't see, so we just got to keep working and keep the momentum going.
Awesome, boys. Well, we're back in March in Philly with Nationals. We're looking forward to see you back here.
Thank you. We want to give a big shout out to Orange Lawn, and this time I want to send a big energy to Spain. They've been going through a bad period of time, really close to my hometown, so I want to wish them the best, and I hope I was there to help. And yeah, big shout out to my family that's always there supporting. Miss you guys.
And big shout out to Stanwich. Extremely proud to represent the Witch at the stage. Thank you.
Congrats, boys. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
And so you see an on-court interview with JC Cato, and again, you know, just a fantastic match from Regalado Salazar. You heard Mark Powers and Nunez say what we said more or less on the broadcast. You have to win the point 8 times against these guys. They don't give you much, and they match up well against any team out there so far this season. And I will say one thing about Nunez and Powers. You know, they are a fairly new team, even though they won the Nationals last year. The more time they spend together, the better they're going to get. So I look forward to more great matches, and we'll see you next weekend with coverage on the 9th stop of the APTA Tour, the Westchester Classic from Rye, New York. That's a wrap from Philadelphia, PA.
Hi everyone, my name is Vera Bisanova. I'm the head pro from Short Hills Club in New Jersey, and today I have a tip on driving for you. Quite often I see players staying open with the weight on the back of their feet, which makes them be off balance. But if you can turn sideways, now you can bring your power forward with you on the drive. I'm Vera Bisanova. Hope this helps you with your drives, and good luck.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Hi, I'm Spencer Caravaggio, and my paddle tip is about footwork. Typically, we as paddle players tend to stand with our feet totally flat on the ground. As somebody who can get really frustrated by missing their drive, typically it's because your feet are flat and then all of a sudden you want to spring into action. So in between balls, make sure that you keep those feet going. Not only will it help you be able to really be on your toes and get ready for your drive, but it'll also help you get to some screens a little bit better. A thing that we see a lot is, people tend to move what they think is the wrong way on a screen and then they give up. But if your feet are still going, even if you move the wrong way, you can really get your body moving into that ball no matter what and be able to survive and make it through another shot. So if you can keep your feet moving, you're going to most of the time be in really good shape.